Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 in our podcast, part 3 in our series in parenting. Today, we will be talking about traveling with a baby. But first, honey, let's
Let's
do
do
a
a podcast.
podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Honey, Let's Do a Podcast. I am your host, Enrique, and we have next to me the amazing, the incredible, the greatest of all time, my lovely wife.
Linda.
Yes. Okay, so as we were saying, today's part 3 in our series on parenting. We will be talking about traveling with a baby. There's 3 topics we want to really talk about. First, it's going to be car rides, which everybody here has to do. Second is going to be flights. And third, because we actually did it, and not a lot of people are going to be doing this ones. First two, almost everybody is going to have to go through this unless you plan on not doing any traveling until your kid's around 2 to 3 years old or 4, or I don't know. But at some point, you're going to have to do it. But the third one is cruising. So cruise ships. That's kind of like the one that's more, you might not be doing it as much, but it's well, since we did it, might as well talk about things you might need. So, like we said, this is going to conclude our series in parenting. We talked about part 1, I think it was, troubles getting pregnant, infertility. Part 2 was about postpartum depression, and also about the actual delivery or the birth story. And then, like I said, part 3 is going to be traveling with a baby. This is going to conclude it. So, Linda, I think the first is what everybody has to do, which is car rides. What are the tips you have for us for car rides?
Well, I think there are two different topics here. So we have traveling, short trips, everyday traveling, going to groceries and stuff like that. And we have long traveling, like long hours
You
of
mean like if you
traveling
do
with.
like a road trip or
Yes, a
something
road
like
trip.
that? Okay.
Road trip obviously is way more complicated than a short trip, but also if you have kids, a small baby or a little toddler, sort of, you want to entertain that kid, baby. If it doesn't go to sleep, feeding is a good idea. If the baby is teething, give them teethers because that helps them chew and they keep entertaining themselves chewing, and they will not start crying. Some people use iPads and put.
Yeah, like we've had our baby a lot of times with Coco Melon, which is probably somebody every parent knows at this point.
Yeah.
Pretty popular. Same as that. What's it called? The baby shark. That's the other one that's pretty popular. A lot of people listen to. So you just entertain it, like she said. Maybe you put something that's gonna distract the baby. A lot of times, that's more when they're started to get a little more into their
Fussy.
No, I'm talking about the second, third month. I mean, at the
Yes.
beginning, they basically are just asleep all the time or eating. They're not really thinking about any iPads or anything like that. That's
Yeah.
more when they start getting a little older, like ours is getting to 18 months. So at this point, she does get, we need to kind of keep her attention distracted sometimes, because if she might get fussy, this is one way to like, kind of get her back, reel her back in, and kind of calm her down. Because if not, we're just going to be the whole ride with a screaming baby. And obviously, you're going to feel super stressed, and also the baby's not really gonna quiet down unless you kind of like see what's going on, or whether it's something wrong, or it's just that she's just bored and she wants attention or whatever, which is a lot of times what it happens. But I think, to piggyback on what Linda was saying, in car rides, we did find at the beginning, because some people, when they when they just had their baby, and they're starting to get back in the house, and things are starting, you're trying to get back into normal. There's a big difference now with the baby at the house. Not everything was like before. Oh, let's just go to the restaurant, let's have a dinner night or whatever. Now you got the baby, and it's not like before you just could go out and it's easy, just get in the car, let's go. Now you got to actually think about these things. You got to do your diaper bag. You got to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you got food. If you're planning to go out, because some people don't even want to go out at the beginning, the first 2 3 months. Even hell, I know people that don't go out in the first 4 5 6 months, because they just don't want to deal with the whole scenario of going out with the baby
It
and all that
gets
stuff.
tough. Yeah, it
And
gets
it
quite
gets tough,
tough.
because we've always liked to go out to eat. At least me. My wife's gotten kind of used to it by this point, because we've been dating for a
Don't
long
have
time.
many options here.
My parents too. When my parents visit, they want to go out all the time to eat and stuff. So this is pretty normal for us. So we were kind of wanted to do it. We actually did it fairly like the second week or something after we had the
Yeah.
baby.
The
We were
first
already
time
going
she
out.
went out was actually on the second
Yeah,
week.
the first week we didn't go out, I think, but the
Well,
first
you guys went out, but I
no, no,
stayed
but
at
you
home
stay
with the
with. I'm
baby.
talking about we went out with the baby.
Yeah.
The second week, I think we went out with
Yeah,
the
we
baby
did.
already. So
Yeah.
by the second week, literally before she even turned a month, we were already doing, going out to restaurants and stuff with the baby. So again, it's to each their own. Not everybody feels comfortable doing this. We actually felt we also had my parents in town, so we had a little extra set of hands helping. When we were out and stuff. If the baby got fuzzy, somebody else could carry her, or you could eat while another person would be trying to see what's going on, whatever.
Yeah,
So
take turns.
it was a little easier that way to do it. But basically, you just want to make sure you have your diaper bags, you have your food. If obviously if it's really early and you're still
Change of clothes.
doing milk, whether it's formula or even now with your 18 months, we still got to bring her the regular milk, or water. But at the beginning, well, you might need the formula, you might need breast milk, you might need to actually give her breast if you want to do it. Because some people also that's another thing. Some people don't feel comfortable giving breast in public. Other people don't really care about it. So I mean, again, it depends on the person. But for car rides, what things really do you need? Like Linda said, distraction. You're gonna need
Something
obviously
is,
your
I wouldn't call it distraction. I would call something to keep the baby entertained. And I'm not very fan of using iPads or TV or any screen time. Sometimes I do use it, but it's not something that I do prefer. I do prefer using stuff that involve her hands, something that she have to use her hands, which she is working her motor skills, but also she is working on her mind as well. So you have multiple things happening at the same time. So you're getting your baby entertained, you're getting your baby's brain develop a little bit better, and you're also working with her hands and eye coordination. So that's just a great combination. The TV screen time, it works. It keeps the baby entertained. It is the best option, probably not, but something to keep the baby entertained. Now that the she's a toddler now, she's 18 months, or she's going to be 18 months, she likes to play with her socks and she likes to play with her shoes. So that's something that she has been developing over the time.
you
And
might al-
now
you
she,
might also have like a teddy bear or any type of toy that she wants
yes,
to play with.
yeah, she likes to play a lot. She likes to use her hands a lot. So she's, because of, I try to involve her along things that require using her hands, she can already put her
By
socks.
the way, one thing that we found out that was good, specifically early, because where my wife's talking about, like I said, it's more when it's 4 or 5, 6 months around there. The first couple 2 months or before that, you're not really gonna need that many toys or whatever because
No.
she's too small for that. But one thing, a tip that we found that was pretty successful was putting one of these sounds that you put for the baby to sleep,
Oh, the
whether
shusher.
it's rain, a shusher, anything like that in the car helps because a lot of times she's either gonna want to be fed or she wants to sleep or she did poop or something and she wants you to change her.
So
So
there was actually a process for that. The process was feed her and change the diaper
right before
immediately,
leaving, right?
right
Yeah,
before
right before
leaving.
leaving,
So
exactly.
you do those two things, and then we had the shusher. Actually, the shusher. There are other brands, but for me, the best one is by far the shusher. And we put the shusher right next to her car seat or inside of the car seat when she was there, and she will fall asleep, and we will not have problems
Yeah,
eating or going shopping or
and
doing our stuff.
actually, a great point. And another great thing about this is that babies, like I said, they sleep. I mean, they eat and then they usually fall asleep. And when they're in the car actually helps them fall asleep a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times because of the movement, the bouncing of the car and the movement and stuff. It feels, remember, at that time, they're really little. So it feels like when you were in the womb, right? And your mom's moving around, you're just bouncing all over the place. You hear that sound. That's why we put those white sounds, like the rain, or it could be even the womb sounds or the
Mm-hmm.
heart beating, or whatever type of sound your baby actually likes to fall asleep. You can use that. But another great thing that we found is that if we do this and she falls asleep, you got like a 2 hour window more or less before she wakes up again, unless
Yes.
there's an issue. So if you go right away, it'll probably let you go somewhere and eat. What you have to make sure is that you have your car seat. It's easy to move around. You don't have what if you have one of these car
Very
seats
important.
where you cannot pull it out. Like we had the Nuna, and this is not like to give any praises. I mean, it just
We're
but
not promoting.
but it was a great brand, and it did work for us. We had that Nuna Light, which is kind of like
It
it's
only
not
eight
heavy.
pounds.
It's really easy to move around,
Yes.
and the good thing is that it hooks to your car in a base, so it's not
The
hooked with.
stroller.
It's
He
not
means the
hooked.
stroller.
No, I'm talking about the car seat.
Oh, okay.
It's not hooked with the seat belt, which makes it a little more comfortable. This one's hooked in a base, so you can just click a button, unclick it from the base, and then we had the stroller, which we had the adapter, so it hooks right into the stroller. So literally, you don't have to wake her up. You just grab her, boom, stroller, go into the restaurant, and really, a lot of times she would just keep falling asleep when you're in the restaurant. Linda would move the car, with
Yeah,
her
I will use my
with her
legs.
leg back and forth, just to try to like keep that motion going, so it helps
I
her.
will use my both hands, just eating and doing my regular stuff, and would use my legs to
To move around.
move her around. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, that's when they were really little. There's nothing really to it, guys. I mean, it's not that many tips in this one,
And
but
again, the shusher. The
the
shusher was
shusher was really
very
important.
helpful.
We bought this one in Amazon that everybody buys, like a red and white one.
No, it's
Uh,
yeah, it's orange,
it's
orange and
orange. Okay,
white.
if you're watching the video, I'll try to put the picture of the shusher in the YouTube video. If not, well, I guess
Yeah,
you'll
it
have to go
costs
and see
like
it.
$30, but
It's not, yeah, it's
honestly,
not expensive.
there are other imitations out there, and we have
But that
another
was like the
one.
best one, yeah.
But the
Yeah, that
shusher
was
is
like the
by
best one.
far the best one. I will is it literally is a recording of a person doing
Yeah,
shusher
yeah.
over and over.
Shh, going
Yes,
like
and
that.
it does help a lot. Even when we were even in the house and we
We
will
will
put
use it,
her to
yeah.
sleep, we will use it and she will fall asleep, which is great.
But again, that's when they're really little. When they get a little older, then you start using the toys and the iPads. And your baby already gives you cues because she starts talking or doing
Hmm.
words or saying sounds. So it's a lot easier to kind of like see what the problem is. But basically, to prep, just have your diapers, just have your food, have your water, have your drinks,
Snacks.
just have your snacks. Make sure you're prepared. Anything happens, any accident happens in the trip, explosion, whatever. Have
You have an
extra.
extra clothes.
Yeah, have extra stuff, sheets to put. Like say she does have an explosion in the car seat, which happened to us, and the car seats gets all full of shit or whatever. Have some sheets, put it on top of the car seat. Change her and put the sheets on top so that she's not like sitting on that. And then when you get home, you clean it up and all that stuff. But just be prepared for any type of situation that can occur. Avoid really long trips if she's really little. Like if she's 2 3 months, less 1 month. I mean, I would probably avoid doing any 5 6 7 hour trips. I mean, you could, but I think like you're gonna have to be stopping all the time because she's gonna get wake up. So if you're fine with stopping and stuff like that, it's cool. Normally, we're gonna get to the flights in a second and to the flights. But when we did flights, I would not recommend also doing a long flight. Probably do like a short 3 hour flight, 2 hour flight, something like that. Again, just to the longer it is and she's younger, the harder it's gonna be.
I might disagree with that, but
You think so?
a portion of it, because I do remember we did took that flight, the flight to Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
and we did it we had two airplanes, and I thought that was the worst idea ever. I would
We didn't have two
prefer,
airplanes.
yeah,
For the Puerto Rico, for the baby, we're one way. We
really,
didn't. Yeah, we didn't do no layover. You talk about a different one. But with
oh,
the baby, there's no layover. Because with
okay,
the baby, I never wanted to have a layover
okay,
with the
yeah,
baby.
because that was just a
But
very bad
notice how the
idea.
first. Now that she's talking about that, the first one was great. The going over there, coming back was horrible.
Oh yeah, 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 I do
So
remember now.
so Again, it depends. And it was the same time on both. The first one she slept more. The second one she didn't want to sleep. So it was more. It was more difficult. And in this one, she was already older. That's what I'm saying. She was already like 7 or 8 months by this point.
Yeah, she was around 8 months.
So if this was a 1 month, that's what I'm saying.
I
We don't
think
know what could have
she
happened.
did great,
Yeah, she did great.
but we'll get there.
But anyway, let's actually transition because again, car rides is not really that difficult. Everybody has to do it. It's not really a rocket science.
It's just a matter of understanding your child, your baby, knowing the things that he or she likes and their cues, how they communicate, because they start communicating since very early. But it's on ourselves, the adults, to pay enough attention to be able to understand their different cues. Because it might be something as simple as "ah," and that will be a cue, a specific cue. Or even before that, they have different cries. Okay, what is this cry versus this other cry? So there are a little subtle differences between those different cries, and it's up to us to understand what each of those cry means. Like we knew right away her hungry cry. It was very different from her sleeping cry. You remember that you were like, "Oh, she's hungry," and Enrique was very. He will know right away when she was hungry because of the particular cry, or I would know right away when she was sleepy because of her particular cry.
Yeah, and these are things you learn. Let's transition back to the second one, which is flights. So this is the second most common thing you're going to do. Obviously, car ride's going to be your primary. Second one's going to be flights because a lot of people do travel, whether it's to see family members, just a trip or whatever, works, anything. You're going to travel. You're going to use airplanes more often. So this one's the one that probably most people will be using. And this one we did it, and specifically in that trip to Puerto Rico. Again, she was like
Eight
7 to 8
months.
months. So we're gonna give you our perspective from that trip. We can't really tell you if it was 2 months, what we would have done differently because we didn't go through it. We didn't went through it. So, but I'm pretty sure it has to be something similar. Maybe the baby's just gonna react differently because he's younger. We think she probably might have slept more when she was little. We just don't know if there would be other problems that might have occurred, right? But let's just talk about an 8-month-old baby and you're traveling with her. So when you get at a flight, there's two options of flights you can do. One is you can do what they call infant on lap, which is when you buy the ticket, one of the adults will have the baby with her, right? Now each adult can do it. So if it's two of you and you have two babies, you can both do infant on lap. Now, obviously, if it's just you and you have two babies, you can't do two infants on your lap. So again, it's
And
one.
that will be only for under two
Oh yeah,
age.
yes. Thanks for that. This is 2 years and younger, right? Or just under two. So you can't be two. So after that, after 2 years, when she hits two or whatever, or she hits two, you're gonna have to get a seat, like
Mm-hmm.
adult, like an adult. You got to get a seat for the baby. But you can do infant on lap, which we just explained, or you can just get a lap for the baby, get
A seat.
a seat for the baby,
And
an
in
extra
that
seat.
specific case, you do need to have the car seat.
If he's really little, yes.
Yes.
So because obviously she's gonna be sleeping, so first check if you are younger and you need the car seat to travel with the baby. Make sure that your car seat is FAA regulated, so it's the airlines and all that can
Mm-hmm.
you can use the car seat on the airlines. Um, Also, some people might prefer the seat just because you have an extra amount of extra space. You have the space for the baby, so it's a little easier. You don't have it on you the whole
Yeah, you
time.
can put it right next to the window, and the baby will have their own space. Nobody will bother them.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be
And
like, "Hey, let me go. I need to go through. Can you stand up a second, please? I need to go to the restroom." You're just gonna have her space, and she's fine over there. But some people might prefer the infant on lap just because obviously the main one would be just to save some money, right? Because if you do infant on lap under 2 years old, you don't have to pay for that ticket.
yeah.
So basically, if you need to save money, you probably would prefer this time. Again, everything's gonna depend on, I think, on flight time too. I think if it's short flights, I wouldn't mind infant on lap, but if it's like a transatlantic flight or something where you have to go different continents and it's like 8 plus hours, I probably would get the I would probably get the
I will
the
say
seat
5 hours is like the
because it's just gonna be imagine you with the baby, you know, 10 hours, 10 plus hours in your lap, and she gets fussy. Mm, that don't sound good. Okay, trust me, that does not sound. Just thinking about it makes me stressed out. So probably I would get her own seat if that's the case. But if it's like a 2 hour flight, maybe 3 hours. Even we did the Puerto Rico, we did infant lap, so that was like around
5 hours. A
no,
little bit
it was
less than
four
five
hours.
hours.
No, it's a little bit like 4 hours. So we did 4 hours. And like I said, our first going there was great. Coming back was more of a pain. So the flight coming back, she was way more fuzzy than the flight going over there. So I guess it depends, right? But anyway, things.
Transportation.
So
How? Okay.
what were you gonna say?
How are we transporting the baby through the airport?
Yeah, but I mean that I was gonna go to tips, but you can
Okay.
start with
No,
the
no, no.
first tip.
You're good. Okay. So the first tip I will say is honestly, I feel like we should have it back then. The SDA,
What are you talking about?
FDA approved?
The she's talking about the pre check for
The
TSA.
yeah, the TSA
Pre
pre-check.
check, the pre check. That's what I said. Pre check.
So I will say that that's the first thing, the pre-check TSA or TSA pre-check. We didn't had it that time, and that was really not a good idea because remember there was a huge line that we had to go through, and in the middle of the line, the baby poop. Now
And not only did she poop, she had a little blowout.
blow up, yeah, it was
Yep.
just diarrhea. It was bad. It was blow up, and we were in the middle of a very long line, so we had to wait.
And the baby gets a diaper rash easy
Yes, she
because
had very
she's a
sensitive
sensitive
skin.
skin. Yeah.
And then after that, we have formula and has water, but they have to
Okay,
check.
but let's go by tips, right? So the first tip she's talking about doing the pre TSA pre check,
TSA pre-check
right?
is the most, I think.
Second one I would do would be travel light yourself and bring a check bag for the baby. I would bring a check bag because you need a lot more shit that you probably would have need before. So Linda and I would normally travel with just
Carry on.
a carry on and that's it. And we still only need to carry on, but now we got to think about the baby too. So specifically at the beginning, and you're gonna need lots of stuff for her,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's bottles. You know, we needed to bring like a thing for her to sleep when we got to the other place.
Mm-hmm.
So like a almost like a small crib. You're gonna need to bring like I don't know like carriers, extra. There's just a lot of stuff like sheets, diapers. There's a lot of stuff you need to bring, and you need space for that. So what we recommend is you bring like a check bag, get like a big bag that you normally would never bring, check bag, and put all the baby stuff in there. Just scram it. If you need to put like almost that it doesn't fit, and you need to like cup, just put it all in there and go that one under with the plane, right? At the bottom, and just check it in, and that's it. And that's a great tip that we think that is beneficial because some people want to put it in their own carry on just to not bring an extra one. We got, and then you don't have
It's
space for anything.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Just diapers pretty much occupies almost all the space. Actually, in our case, we brought a little bit of diapers, and then we bought more.
Yeah, when we got home,
Yeah.
when we got to our parents' house.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another option, but sometimes you don't go somewhere where you're gonna buy diapers.
Yeah.
So you want to just bring everything yourself.
I mean, that would be the ideal situation,
Let's say you're
just to
going
make
to
sure that you have
let's
all your bases covered and
yeah, because
the
let's say you're going let's
quality.
say you're going to a vacation house in the middle of the mountains, for example. I don't know. And once you get there, the nearest town is 30 miles away or 40 or 50, I don't know. I mean, you need some diapers, you ain't going to go an
Well,
hour in
that's a very
car.
specific
No, but I'm just
scenario.
saying, I know that's a very specific scenario, But not everybody who travels is going somewhere where they have accessible diapers close by. Maybe
That
you
might be
have, but
true.
maybe you don't. So it's better to be prepared
That is
that if
correct.
you don't, but because maybe you don't have them when you get there, you can't purchase anymore. So that's that with that. That's that tip about the luggage. Third, know that this is like something that information that you should have. Bottles, formula, water, you know, water bottles that are going to be mixed with formula, milk, breast milk, medicine, any liquid that normally you have. What's the amount again? The
Three
amount?
milliliters,
It's like 3.4 something like that ounces or 3 ounces,
three
whatever.
ounce.
I don't know the exact amount that you're allowed to bring in the airplane, but that does not apply for any of these things that I just said. Again, water for mixing formula, milk, breast milk, any of that, medicine, all those liquids for the baby. You don't. There's no like a certain amount rule. You can pass those, no problem.
They will check them for
However,
sure.
exactly, we didn't know this, and like Linda said, and this is why I wanted to stop her a minute ago, just because I wanted to give away this info, say the story, say the complete story. When the blowout happened in the line with the baby, we were like, okay, like we'll just get through this quick, and then you'll go to the restroom,
Because we
and,
were
and we
quite
and we and you
upfront,
change it,
actually.
right? And yeah, because we were when this the blowout happened, we were not that far back in the line. We were close to where you have to go through the metal detector and all that stuff. So we're like, okay, we'll just go through this quick, and then you'll go to the restroom, and we'll change her up and all that stuff. But when we went through the you put your bags through the little scanner,
Hmm.
and you have to wait for them, to go clear, and then you grab it. They go like, "Hey, sir, is this your bag?" I'm like,
It
"Yes."
was a diaper bag,
It
actually,
was a
what they
type.
grabbed.
Well, is this your bag, ma'am? Yes. What's the problem? Oh, we need to check this. So they were checking all the. So even though they're allowed, they're still gonna check, and they're still gonna probably do a swab to whatever to check that there's nothing wrong with it. But they will get every single bottle. It's not like they just do one and that's it. They go if you have 6 bottles, they go all 6 bottles. They'll check. They'll do a swab or whatever.
They put
It
it in
has
a
to pass like a
machine.
machine, like a test. It green lights them, and then you're fine. And then whatever, you keep going. So we didn't know this, and remember, we had a baby with a blowout. So we were like, man, we need to get this going.
I
We need
got
to we need
quite
to change her.
stressed.
Linda got stressed because the baby gets the diaper rash, and but just know that if
And
you
that,
bring if you bring bottles, whether it's milk, breast milk, liquid formula, whatever, they still gonna pull them out and check. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
just in case, that process of checking takes a good amount of time. I think you stay
Yeah,
there for
because
around
it's like
20 minutes or
because it's like
30 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes per bottle,
Yeah.
and we brought like six.
Yeah, we brought six for
Yeah.
sure. And so she was kind enough to give me the rest of the diaper bag that was not the problem. And I was able to change her.
Yeah, and I stayed with
And
until
he
she finished.
stayed until, but if we had to wait for the person to check all of the bottles, it will take way too much time. And the baby would have a serious diaper rash
Yeah, and,
because
I,
she
and at the
was,
beginning it was even worse. She would get even more diaper rash when she was even more little.
because she
So
had very sensitive skin.
yeah.
And most babies do have sensitive skin, but my baby had a little bit more sensitive skin than usual.
Okay, here's my other tip. This is like tip number 4. Bring like a travel stroller. Bring an easy stroller that you can, make it little. It's easy to move around. You can. We bought a stroller. It's called a yo-yo. You probably have heard about it, or maybe you haven't. But whatever. It's called a yo-yo. YOYO. And it gets so compact that you can even put it in the overhead bin in the airplane.
Yeah, you don't have to put
You
it
don't
up
even
there.
have to put it in because it's so small that it's like a briefcase. It's the size of a briefcase when it gets compact, and that was perfect. I mean, it's great because we could bring it the stroller. We're not bringing this huge monstrosity through the whole airport. We have something that's really easy. Move it around. We have the baby there. because again, it's easy. You can put her. She can have sleep, rest, whatever. She's in the
Well,
stroller.
there was an attachment that we can put the Nuna Pipa light attached to the yo-yo, and
Yeah.
we were able. I mean, the baby could be. I think she was sleeping after the whole situation with the,
Yeah. So we put it on the stroller with and then she was in the
and
car
she
seat.
was sleeping. Then
Yeah.
it was nice.
So again, that's another tip. Bring a stroller. Don't bring your Cadillac, please. It's huge. I mean, if you want to do it, do it. But I mean, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a pain in the ass if you have a huge stroller. Plus, you know you're gonna have to check that in anyway. Once you get to the gate, that's gonna have to go with the car seat, unless again you're using the car seat in your seat. But since we did the infant on lap, we had to check the car seat. Another tip: when you get to the gate, ask the lady in the counter if there is a seat available next to you, or if there's any seats that are open in the airplane that you can move to a seat that has an opening next to you. Trust me, if there is,
Take it.
it'll take it because you'll need that extra space. This is if you're infant on lap. If you bought a seat and you have three in a row or whatever, you don't need this. This is more if you're infant on lap and you just ask just to see. And if there is a spot in the plane, you can maybe ask her if they can move you or move you guys to that open spot. Okay. So ask this. You got nothing to lose. If there is, they'll move you. If not, well, what you tried. So another thing at the gate while you're at it, remember that take advantage of being with an infant. So you're gonna be, you can ask about this if you're like sure if the airline supports it. Some airlines support it, some airlines don't, but I think most of them support it. But take advantage of the pre-check, pre-boarding, not pre-check, pre-boarding. So when you're with a baby and it's like a young baby, I get an infant 2 years, usually 2 years and younger, or younger than two. They're gonna after they call first class or whatever, or the guys that have the membership with the airline or whatever. You normally call military, and then they call customers or flights traveling with a baby under two. They'd say they're welcome to board. So use it. That extra little amount of time that you have to board, just so you have your just specifically just so you have your overbin space still clear. I mean, that's a game changer. Trust me, take advantage of it. You'll thank me later. Another tip for you, Linda, for the flights.
Another tip. Another tip. Now I was thinking about
I thought you were going to talk about when we're in flight, because this is all pre boarding or boarding or pre boarding. What happens when you're in flight? You have a couple. I know I got a couple ones, but
okay.
I know you had a couple ones.
So the another tip that I can give you is a takeoff. Actually, takeoff on when the airplane is going down landing. Have a bottle or a pacifier, and give the baby the bottle at takeoff. That helps the baby multiple things. First, for the babies cannot pop up their ears, so that helps them.
To just do the sucking motion helps them pop out the ears.
Exactly. And also it helps baby fall asleep. So the airplane going up, it kind of works like if it's the car ride. And the milk
Plus the
is
sound.
kind of like strong's the baby. If you give them a lot of milk, it will knock out that baby and it will sleep a good amount of that flight. So that will be a very good help.
Yeah,
And also at landing,
the same thing.
you do it more for the ears.
So this is just to piggyback again from what Linda said. Try to before, and this is again pre-flight, because obviously like you can do this in flight or when they're about to take off. Try to time your meals before the flight. So for example, if you know you're gonna have to give her bottle or she needs to feed at X time, try to time the meal so that her time to feed is more or less when your plane's leaving, so that you can just give her the bottle right when the plane's about to take off, and it's a win-win for everybody. This actually, a lot of pediatricians tell us to do it. So a lot of them just, if you just talk, let's say you're gonna have to trip and you talk to your pediatrician, they'll probably tell you this tip that we're giving you, but you're listening to it, ahead of time. Then here you go, here you are.
Yeah.
Another tip that we have when you're on flight, make sure that you check in your, in your airplane, which of the restrooms or which of the laboratories in there have the changing tables for the baby, because not every restroom in the airplane are all equipped with a changing table. So let's say, you're going to the back of the airplane and there's a restroom there, and you go there, oh, no changing table. Oh, now we got to go back to the middle of the front. And maybe the middle one has a line or whatever. And you could have avoided some. So just make sure when you're boarding, okay, when you're going to your seat, check or ask the flight attendant, hey, where are the ones located with the changing table, and that's it.
I think that will help.
Also, bring your own changing mattress or changing whatever was
Changing
it
pad.
changing pad. Sorry,
I mean, I think that's the most. I don't think. I think most parents have their changing pad, but if
and
you
the
don't,
diaper
if
bag.
and the diaper bag is obviously like a most. If you don't have it, I'm not sure what you're thinking, honestly.
Well, yeah, but some people just don't have a changing pad anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well, changing pad. The changing pad in the bathroom is, I mean, obviously the bathrooms are small, but the
yeah, you
changing
you
pad
guys know
is
how it is.
very small. Very,
You need a
very, very.
changing table.
Yeah, sorry. The changing table is very, very small. And it's very difficult to maneuver there, even for a small person. I'm small. So even for me, it was hard to maneuver the changing of a diaper in that changing table. A good important thing that I will think is a recommendation is to only bring what you need to the bathroom, because the bathroom is very small. And then if you bring a huge diaper bag, it's just
You don't
not,
have where to put it.
yeah, there's no way to put it literally. And you cannot leave the door open. So it helps to only bring to the bathroom the wipes, diapers, and a changing of clothes just in case. I will say those three things, and obviously the pad, the changing pad.
Yeah.
Those four things. That's it.
So another tip while you're in flight, when you're getting your ticket and you're getting a seat, and you're gonna seat down over there in your planes in your plane seat, grab one depending on your preference, right? There's some people that prefer to be on the aisle because obviously if you need to go to the restroom, you need to check with the baby, your baby needs to go to the restroom to go to the diaper, you got to change diaper. It's a lot easier than you have to like constantly go up and tell somebody to get out of the seat and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But other people might feel better having the baby sleep on the
The
how do you call it,
window.
on the window, just because again, then you don't have to deal with that part. Because if you sit on the aisle and there's somebody sitting on the window, for example, then if your baby's asleep and you want her to stay asleep, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I need to go use the restroom," and then you have to get stand up with the baby, and then she might wake up. But if you have it on the window, you don't have to deal with people telling you that they need to go to the restroom and stuff like that. So again, that's just a tip. Just make sure what's your preference prior to boarding. Like I said, just know which you think is your better for you guys, whether it's the window seat or the aisle for the benefits that might bring to you.
I think it depends on the stage of the baby. If the baby is very young that sleeps a lot, I will definitely pick the window because I want to keep that baby asleep as much as possible. If it's a baby that is very active, probably I will still pick the window because I will try to keep things contained. The baby, a kid that goes to the bathroom a lot, probably not as much. And I can even change the diaper there. It's literally the same space that I will have in the bathroom. So I'll have to trade off. I probably will go to the window, to be honest.
The one thing, another thing. This is not like a tip, but it's just to tell you that like no, don't be so afraid about the flight. A lot of people get nervous because when you get to a baby with your baby to a flight, specifically if you've never flown with any type of baby before, this is your first baby and you've never done any flights with the baby, you might feel a little bit stressed out that when you get into the plane, you're going to cause people around you like if your baby starts crying, whatever, that they're gonna get all upset and all this. Listen, I think that's for us at least that didn't happen. Everybody was pretty nice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was really nice around us. I think for a lot of people, they understand. Everybody, a lot of people has had kids or were kids or whatever, so they kind of understand the struggles. So they kind of sympathize with you. This doesn't mean that you might find some asshole in a flight that might get all pissy about it. But like I said, nowadays almost everybody, specifically if you fly a lot, almost everybody has a pair of AirPods or a pair of whatever. Anybody can put. Every time I take a flight, I always bring my headphones with me. Anybody can put on those things with music or whatever, and you can kind of like isolate yourself from the rest of the world when you're in that plane. So there's ways a lot of people can manage with a baby that's screaming, but just know that you have to travel. You have to travel. You have to travel, and you can't leave your baby home. So even though somebody might get mad about it, don't stress about it because what else are you gonna do? You're not there to just try to give somebody a bad time if your baby starts crying. I mean, it's just what it is. What it is. So people have to adapt to it. So if you're a little bit like that, just know that for the most part, I would say around 90% or 95% of people will probably be chill and they will actually be happy and they'll say, "Oh, what a cute baby," whatever. So I already understand. So nobody's gonna give you anything, any issues or whatever. If there is, well, just tell him to put some headphones on or whatever, and to shut himself up. So don't worry about that part too much. I feel like I wanted to talk about this because I know I was one of them. I was a little bit like, ooh, I
I
don't know
didn't even sleep the night
what if she
before.
gets crying and then we out
I
of
was
this
very
situation there,
stressed.
and I'm like, after it happens, I'm like, listen, whatever. It is what it is. If it happens, there's nothing we can do about it. We still got to make the trip anyway. So, and I think, do you have anything else for flights? I mean, I think that
Yes.
pretty much sums it up. You have another one?
Yes.
Okay, well, Linda has another
Make
one.
sure to bring all the food that you need, especially if it's a long flight. You have to time all of your food. If you know your baby eats every 2 hours, make sure you have those two plus extra just in case if the baby needs extra more. So I do remember that
You mean bottles?
depends.
Well, depending on the stage. And
Yes.
in our case, it was
In our case,
bottles.
it was bottles. So
Yeah,
we have 6 bottles of
formula. At that time,
formula.
she was still doing formula.
At that time, she was doing formula. And we use all 6. If we would have only 3, we would need more. So make sure you have all of your food. And also, if your baby is more awake, our first flight was she was asleep most of the time, so it was great. But the second flight, she was awake a long time, so we had to have toys or stuff to keep her entertained.
Did we had? Yeah, we did. We did
We
have
did
the
had.
phone with the videos and stuff already, or no? I
I'm
don't
not
remember.
sure. I'm not sure
I
if
think I did,
I'm
but I
not
don't
sure if
remember.
we had phone with videos, but I do remember I had a lot of toys in
Yeah.
her diaper bag, and that's what I used to keep her entertained. And then she fell asleep for a little bit, but most of the time she was either fussy, eating, or playing with the toys.
So again, that's car rides. That's flights. So we have a third one that's cruises. And again, this one, not a lot of people are going to be experiencing this one. I think that this is a little more niche, because not everybody does cruises. Not as much as flights. And sure hell no, damn, they're going to do a cruise with a baby. I mean, I don't think we would have done a cruise with a 6 month old anyway. I don't think so. We just did one, but our baby was like 17, 16 months already, and her mother came in the trip, so that helped. But I don't think we would ever do a trip with a 6 or younger, a cruise trip. I don't think we would have done it because
I would have
you're
needed
literally
help.
stuck in a cruise for 5, 6 days. I mean, I I think I think that'd be a lot harder. Away from your all the stuff you have, like
The
the
commodities. Yeah.
commodities, and also you would have to literally when that one you do have to bring everything for those 6 days
Yes.
because again, like this is one of the situations I told you that not every time you can go somewhere and you can buy stuff over there. If you're in a cruise, You got to bring everything
Yes.
because ain't no shop on the cruise that gonna tell you, hey, you can buy more diapers here.
Yeah.
So
I actually didn't even see a place that had diapers in the
what are they
cruise.
gonna? They're not gonna have that in there. Maybe we didn't check. Maybe if you have like an emergency, maybe they have some in the medical department because they do have a medical at the
Yeah.
bottom in the second and I think is the second
But
deck.
I think they know that most people are not,
Yeah, but that's not.
it's not
The only way
common.
you can do is whenever you stop on a port.
Yeah.
Maybe when you stop on the port, go to the city and buy whatever you want that day. But I mean, but that's a really. I
That's
mean,
the only
it's
way.
not. It's not as easy. Let's put it like that. So I don't think a lot of people would do this, but we're gonna give you the. We're gonna talk about our experience with a 17-month-old. First of all, the first decision of making the trip was because her mother was coming.
Yeah.
That's the
Bring
first one
somebody else.
because that means that we had a little time to do stuff. Because if not, with the baby, you're not gonna be able to enjoy the cruise as much. Only activities during the day and stuff. But when the night hits, you're done because the baby goes to sleep around 8, around 7:38. You can push it a little longer if you're in a cruise, maybe, but she's probably gonna be fuzzy. I don't know if you might sleep her. Yeah, maybe it can work, but a lot of times she's gonna have to sleep around 8, 8:30, something like that. So any activities outside of that, you're gonna just have to stay in your room with her because you're not just gonna leave her in the room and go do
No.
something yourself. Somebody gotta stay with her in the room in case something happens. So the reason it helped for us was we brought her mom, so her mom was staying with her at night in her stateroom, and we could go do stuff. That's just that. That's one thing, right? But let's just talk about other things
That was
about.
a huge,
Yeah,
huge help.
that was like the primary decision we
Yes.
ended up doing the cruise with the baby.
Yeah. And even if you have to pay that extra ticket, it
Yeah, we
is
paid her mom the ticket.
a portion of it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we help her out so that
We
she could come
help.
out.
Yeah. But that does help.
In this one, tips that we found. So one thing is that the cruise, you know, your cruise provider, whether it's Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Vikings, whatever cruise you take on Disney cruises, all of them or most of them will have cribs. So that's
Small
one
crib.
small crib. So that's one thing you probably won't need to take if you need cribs, right? Unless if your baby's already old enough that she sleeps in beds, then forget about this. But if it's like ours or younger, you're gonna need a small crib or a crib. So they provide you the small crib, so you don't have to go and bring that with you.
And the
That's a that's
sheets,
a
so you don't
that's
have
a
to
good
bring the
thing. That's a
sheets.
good thing, right? And obviously they have sheets, any of that. They got the room service, so these guys come every day, change everything. So they'll have sheets and stuff like that for that. So you're fine in terms of that. Okay, things you need. Obviously, same things we talked about for the flight. You pretty much are gonna need most of them. Your diaper bag, bottles if you're giving them bottles, all this stuff you're gonna have to bring it. Specifically, if you're doing formula or breast milk still, you're gonna have to bring all that stuff. If you're giving her milk, that one the crew's gonna have milk.
Hmm.
You don't need to carry milk with you, just the bottles, if that's the case. But you're gonna need most of that. Again, makeup and the cruise. The best thing about the cruises is there's no weight limit or no luggage limit like the airplanes. So this one you can bring as much shit as you want. Obviously, don't bring so much shit that you can't go anywhere because you got so much stuff you don't even know how to move. To the cruise or to your car, or whatever. Still be reasonable. But the good thing is you can bring more stuff. There's no extra cost. They're going to get your stuff into your stateroom when you get there. You can just give it to one of the porters in the bottom and they're going to bring it to you. So, again, it's a lot easier in that regard to bring stuff with you to a cruise
Hmm.
since it's like a moving hotel. One thing cool we noticed about the milk, if it's not formula or breast milk, if you go get milk, and the thesis was in Carnival at least, if if you order or you call up and then when you get to your room and you call, hey, I need milk for my baby, whatever, they're gonna charge you for that milk. So if you want free milk, go to when you have
Go to the
breakfast and when you
deck.
have the lunch, and they put all this milk out there. Grab packs of those milks and bring it to your refrigerator downstairs. That's kind of a dumb. I, when that first happened, I was like, "What the? This is so dumb." They charge you for this, but you can just go and grab like six and put them in your restroom.
That's
I mean, in your
ridiculous.
restroom,
Fridge cabin.
in your stateroom, and put it in the fridge in your stateroom, and you're fine. But and if you order one or two through room service with the phone, they charge you for that. It, um, that's kind of dumb. But anyway, they do that shit. So if you don't want to pay extra, just grab whenever you have your breakfast in the morning or lunch, grab a couple extra ones. When you go back to your room, put them in there on the fridge, and you just have extra for when you need them. And you don't have to go out and grab something at that point. So that's just an interesting fact about the milk. Obviously, I would bring the stroller
Small
because
one.
a small one too. You can probably bring a bigger one, but remember,
I don't think it's a good idea to bring a caddy
yeah,
like
depending on the part you're on the cruise, if you're through the hallways to get to your stateroom, those are kind of small, so the big ones will be kind of iffy there. So probably a small one would still be better, but just bring it because again, the cruise is big, so you walk and stuff. It's good to have a stroller to specifically when the baby gets tired and she wants to go to sleep. You can just put her in there, right? I think it's pretty much similar to the
no, I
flight, but
think we're missing a few things.
I know we're missing some. But
Okay, so first thing, and we didn't use it as much, but sunblock and some after sun cream. Those two very important, especially if your baby have sensitive skin. Because even if you're just walking on the deck, the baby might have some sunburn. So that's one of them. The second, and we didn't do it, and I wish we would have done it. Get the passport of for the kid. We didn't. Have the
oh, I know
passport,
what you're talking about.
and we only use. You need to have some documentation for babies, and we use the birth certificate. I will not recommend to use the birth certificate. I will recommend to use a passport. And the reason for this is because there are two different lines. We both have passport. The baby have a certificate, so she needs to have a separate line.
But let's explain that because to get into the cruise wasn't the problem. It was to get out of the cruise.
Yes, but there is a process that
I,
could be
I know,
avoided.
but this is mainly to get out of the cruise.
But
Because to get in the cruise, you still got to go through the area where you see all the stewardess or whatever, and then they have to give you your ID. So they just grab all your documentation and they give you the IDs for your stateroom and all the ones you're going to use to pay for everything in the cruise. It's to get out.
to get out was definitely a problem.
That there's a line where if you have a passport, there's even is you just do a facial thing
Yeah,
where just go there, it scans your face, boop, you're
easy.
out. But obviously, birth certificate, there's no photo of you, right? That's only in the passport. So you have to, there's a separate line for that.
Yes.
So that's what she's saying it just makes it a little more uncomfortable, just a little more annoying because you have to do
You have
usually
to do two
that line
lines.
takes longer than the one where you go beep,
Yeah.
you just go by. So, and if she's saying for that, just to
Yeah,
save
that's
yourself a
just
couple
very
times.
inconvenient.
Yeah. So, but once you're there, I mean, at least in our situation, it wasn't to get out on the ports. It was easy. They didn't even ask you for anything to get on the ports. I don't
Yeah.
remember having to show anything
Yeah.
to get. It's just your cruise ID. That's
Yeah.
it. They would scan that, boop boop, and that you go.
I think another thing that we have not mentioned when you are in a cruise is that there are a lot of aquatic stuff for kids. Unfortunately, if your kid is not potty trained,
Oh yeah,
they do not allow you to use
any of the
anything.
aquatics.
None of the aquatics, nothing, nothing, literally
No
nothing.
pools, no kiddie pools,
So
no jacuzzis,
I
no
think that
nothing.
was kind of disappointing for me at least because I know my daughter
She likes water.
loves water.
So what Linda did
I know.
is that she used one of those showers after you went to the pool or to any of these things. They got these showers out there to like,
To
rinse yourself
remove,
up,
yeah.
she would just turn that on and she would let
My
her
daughter
go in
was
there.
so happy. She
Yeah.
was so happy, even with that. And what we did is that I want to make sure that she already started
Uh,
some potty train, but can you give me a minute, please?
well, I was just want to say something before you continue. Just so you know, we agree with the whole. We know what they did. The whole. They don't let your kid go if they're not potty because it would be kind of disgusting.
I know.
So I understand that one.
I do
Just want to
understand.
just make that clear that
Yeah.
we're not
I do
we're not
understand.
against
And I
that.
am
We
even
understand that. But it was just a little disappointing because you did want her to get rid of it. Now continue, please.
okay. So the process for me to get her ready was I want to make sure that she went to potty, I was starting to do some potty train, but she's not completely potty trained when that trip happened. She's still not completely potty trained, to be honest. But I want to make sure that she have her poop completely done out of the way, and then after that I put there are disposable, and I didn't know that there are disposable water diapers. So I put one of those and I brought her to the water area, and she was very happy. She got very tired and she got a very nice nap after that, so that was
Yep.
great. But mostly she have a very good time in that shower. I would have preferred to be on a pool, but it's okay. That was my only option, and she had a good time. So I'm very happy that I did it.
In terms of tips, I mean, I think
I think that
that's
covers most.
that's about wraps it, right?
I think so. Oh, if you are going outside of the cruise, if there is some kind of tracker that you can put to the baby, I know you're gonna be on top of the baby, but you never know. Just some kind of tracker that you can put to the baby that will be very helpful. You hopefully might not need it, but you never know if
Are you
you
talking
are
about kidnapping and shit over here?
sort
Oh,
of.
that's good. So
You
she's
never
putting a
know.
really
She might
this is a
even get
really dark
lost.
approach to telling
I'm not
her.
saying that
All right,
the kid is
okay.
gonna get
Well,
kidnapped,
hopefully
but maybe you
this is
lose the
not an
baby
issue
for a
for
couple of
you.
seconds, and then you get
Hopefully this ain't an issue for you, but I
hopefully.
guess she's trying to give you a good tip if it does happen. But
I mean, it's something.
hopefully nobody has to go
If
through that.
yeah, if by any second I lose my daughter from sight, I will freak out.
But one thing that you could do that's not as dark as this is buy those little that thingy that you put like a harness to her. It's like it's like she's wearing a backpack, and then she has a thing that like a little how do you call it, like a little string, or
Cable.
not a cable. It's like a harness. It's like what you use for your dog. Literally like what you use with your
Well,
dog.
she have an actual
That's what I'm saying. But
harness.
you can use that so that when if you let her walk, she's tied to your wrist or something,
Yes.
or to your hand,
Yes.
and she's not gonna just go off.
Yes.
That one's a little less dark than putting a tracker on her. That sounds like
Well,
like.
it's like this Apple tracker.
Where are you gonna put it
Simple. You're
in
gonna
her
put
pants?
it. You can put it under the shoes or the pants, or you can
Okay.
put they
Anyway,
sell these days this plastic bands that you can put it there as
you're
well.
there. There's probably something, yeah. But anyway, this is a little less dark than that. Okay.
I don't
Any
think it's dark. I think it's just
well, the
safety,
the reason of using it,
extra
the reason for
precaution.
using it is a little dark, like what you're
It's
using
just
it.
precaution.
Okay. Anyway, I think we covered all three things: car rides, flights, cruises, if you happen to make a cruise,
On dark sides.
and the dark side that Linda said. So basically, what she's saying is put an air tag on your kid. Where she goes, just put an air tag on her. Okay. Anyway, we're just messing with her, but anyway, yes, that's about it for today, I think, and I think that covers for now our parenting series of 3 episodes, because obviously there's going to be extra stuff that happens
In the
in the future, and
future,
we might actually talk about it as we go through all these different stages. Hell, we don't even know, we might get
a whole library.
or a second kid. Huh?
What?
We've been
What?
talking. We don't know yet. We don't know yet if we want it or not. But
I'm not sure
if it
about
does
that.
happen, we might need to do. We might need to get some news stories that we're gonna have to talk about because now it's gonna be traveling with a baby and
A
a
toddler.
toddler. So that's gonna be make it a little extra interesting,
Dun dun
more
dun.
interesting. But for now, I think it was awesome to talk all these last 3 episodes about parenting. I think it's been a great experience for us, and we keep learning every day from it. I hope that everybody here had a great time with us when we talked about these all these 3 different subjects or these all these different things. I hope that you got something out of it. As always, make sure to you know subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to it. Subscribe to our YouTube if you happen to also watch us over there. Hit us up on the Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Instagram, Linda? You don't remember?
Wait a minute.
What's the podcast name, Linda? What's the podcast name? Oh my God.
Honey,
So
let's
at
do a
Honey, let's do a
podcast.
podcast.
Honey,
I
let's do a
cannot believe
podcast.
this. But anyway, at Honey, let's do a podcast. See, I'm trying to make her talk. Sometimes Linda's like too quiet. I'm trying to make her talk a little more. See,
Well, I'm an introvert.
this is not a trick question.
I'm an
Linda.
introvert, so
You should know
I
the
have an
podcast
excuse.
name, please. Anyway, at Honey, let's do a podcast. You can reach us out on Instagram over there. And I think let's wrap it up. We'll see you next Wednesday, guys. Have a great night or a great day if it's day over there. Peace out.
Bye.